There is a saying, a person is only as great as their thoughts. This is an eternal truth, proven time and again through the lives of successful individuals. Napoleon Hill, in his famous Think and Grow Rich, stated that, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So why is it that most people are not successful? Is it because they don't think? Or is it because they never truly discover their own potential? Today's story will help you find the answer to that question. So listen till the very end. I promise you, this story could change your life. Once, at a train station in a city, the beggar used to live near the train station, and he survived by begging from the passengers who sat inside the arriving trains. One day, as he was moving from coach to coach asking for help, he noticed a man dressed in a sharp, expensive suit. The beggar thought to himself, "This man must be very rich. If I ask him for alms, he'll surely give me a generous amount." With hope in his eyes, the beggar approached the wealthy man and began to beg. But looking at him, the rich man asked, "Do you always just ask others for things? Have you ever—" Hearing this, the beggar was surprised and said, "Sir, I'm just a poor beggar. I survive by asking for help from others. How could I possibly have anything to give in return?" The wealthy man replied, "If you have nothing to offer, then you also have no right to ask for anything. I'm a businessman, and I believe in fair exchange. If you can give me something in return, only then can I give you something. But if you have absolutely nothing to offer, then I can't give you anything either." Then the wealthy man boarded the train and left. The beggar sat down, quietly thinking about what the businessman had just said. He thought to himself, "All these years I've been begging, but no one has ever said something like that to me before." And honestly, he didn't say anything wrong. If I have nothing to give, then what right do I have to constantly ask from others? He continued thinking, maybe that's why people never want to give me more, because I have nothing to offer them in return. I can only beg, but I never give. Then he sighed and thought, but I'm just a beggar. What could I possibly give to someone else? What do I even have to offer others? The beggar thought. But still, how long will I continue asking from people without ever giving anything in return? And finally, the beggar made a decision. From today onward, whoever gives me something, I will give them something in return, no matter how small. This one thought kept running through his mind. Instead of just begging, what can I give to others? 2 days passed just thinking about this. During those 2 days, the beggar didn't ask for a single coin. On the third day, as he was sitting quietly at the train station, he noticed a few flower plants growing on the other side of the station. He saw that the plants were full of blooming flowers. Then a thought crossed his mind. What if, instead of just asking for money, I give people a flower in return? Inspired by this idea, the beggar made a decision. From today, I will give a flower to anyone who gives me something. With this thought, he gently picked some flowers from the plants. Holding the flowers in his hands, he went to the train station to beg as usual. But now, every time someone gave him money, he smiled and handed them a flower in return. People were surprised and happy. They kept the flowers with them, touched by the simple gesture. From then on, the beggar started doing this every day, picking fresh flowers and offering them to anyone who gave him something. The beggar continued offering flowers in exchange for alms. Within a few days, he noticed something surprising. More and more people had started giving him money. As long as he had flowers in his hands, people were generous and smiled while giving. But the moment he ran out of flowers, people would stop offering him anything. This became his daily routine. Then one day, as he got on the train to beg, he suddenly noticed the same businessman sitting there. the very man who had inspired him to start giving flowers instead of just asking. Without a second thought, the beggar rushed toward him and said, "Today I have something to give you," the beggar said with a gentle smile. "I have something to give you. If you give me some alms, I will give you a few flowers in return." Hearing this, the businessman smiled and handed the beggar some money. In return, the beggar carefully offered him a few flowers. The businessman was genuinely impressed by the beggar's idea. He smiled and said, "Today, you've become a businessman, just like me." Saying that, he got off the train with the flowers in hand and walked away. The beggar sat there once again, thinking deeply about what the businessman had said. "How could I possibly be a businessman? I'm just a beggar," he thought to himself. After thinking deeply, the beggar finally realized he too could become successful in life, because now he had discovered the true secret to success. With a newfound fire in his heart, the beggar got off the train, looked up at the sky, and shouted with joy, "I am not a beggar! I am a businessman. I can be like that wealthy man. I can become rich too." People around him stared in confusion. They thought maybe he had gone mad. And from the next day, the beggar was no longer seen at the station. 6 months later, at that same station, two men dressed in sharp suits began their journey. They looked at each other. And shook hands. The first man said, "Do you recognize me?" The second man replied, "No, I'm afraid I don't. I believe this is our first meeting." The first man smiled gently and said, "We've actually met twice before, both times on this very train. I'm the beggar, the one you first told what I should do in life. And the second time, you reminded me who I really was." Hearing this, the second man burst into a smile and said in surprise, "Now I remember. You're that beggar." The businessman said, "You're the one I once refused to give alms to. And the second time, I bought flowers from you. But look at you now, wearing a suit. Where are you going these days? What are you doing?" The first man replied with a proud smile, "Yes, I was that beggar. But today, I'm a successful flower businessman. I'm heading to another city for business." After a moment of pause, he added, "That thing you told me during our first meeting, it's actually a law of nature. We only receive when we first give. I truly felt that with my whole heart. But even then," he said softly, "I always saw myself as just a beggar. I never thought beyond that. Never imagined I could be anything more. But the second time we met, you told me that I had already become a businessman. And that's when I realized why people had started giving me so much. They weren't giving me charity. They were paying for the flowers. Each person was buying my flowers because they couldn't get them anywhere else at such a low price. Even though, in the eyes of others, I was just a small-time seller, in my own eyes, I was still a beggar. And after what you said to me that day, I finally realized I was already a small businessman. With the little money I had saved, I bought more flowers and officially started my flower business. People really loved the flowers I offered, and their love for flowers helped turn me into a successful flower entrepreneur." As their conversation ended, the two men stepped off the train and walked their separate paths. Because in life, what it becomes for us entirely depends on how we choose to see it. If you see yourself as small, you will remain small. But if you can recognize the potential inside you, then one day, you too can become something great. So never underestimate yourself. See yourself as strong, capable, and worthy of success. Because when your thoughts change, your future changes. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Let us know in the comments what this story taught you. And don't forget to share it so others can be inspired too. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you again with another inspiring story.